Morning to you as well.
Let's start in the US, as the government there has placed restrictions on the sales of AI chips to China.
The US government imposed new export restrictions on its H20 AI chip.
The US has blocked certain types of AI chips.
In a moment that sent waves through both the tech world and international politics, Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, made a surprise visit to Beijing. His presence in China just days after the United States announced fresh restrictions on AI chip sales created a stir that rippled across global markets and reignited conversations around the US-China tech rivalry. Huang's unexpected trip was reportedly made at the invitation of a Chinese trade organization, a detail casually revealed by a social media. Context of his arrival was anything but casual. The visit came on the heels of new US government restrictions that blocked Nvidia from exporting its H20 data center GPUs to China. These chips were among the few still allowed to be sold to the country under earlier export rules, designed to avoid enabling Chinese military applications of AI technology. The H20 GPUs represented Nvidia's strategic response to the Biden-era regulations, designed to allow the company to continue selling in China without violating national security restrictions. These lower-powered chips were specifically crafted to avoid triggering alarms in Washington, ensuring that Nvidia could maintain its presence in the lucrative Chinese market. However, US officials were not satisfied. The new rules aim to ensure that Nvidia's hardware cannot be used in or diverted to supercomputers in China, addressing concerns over national security. This move intensifies the ongoing tech and trade tension between the US and China over AI advancements. For Nvidia, the financial impact is crushing. The company has projected a $5.5 billion loss due to the new export controls. Shares plunged roughly 7% the day after the announcement, part of a broader downturn in the tech sector fueled by tariffs and protectionist policies. It was against this dramatic backdrop that Huang landed in Beijing. His visit instantly lit up Chinese and Taiwanese social media. In Taiwan, where Huang is something of a tech celebrity, fans posted old videos of him being greeted like a rock star during previous trips. Photos from his current visit began trending on Weibo, often accompanied by the hashtag #ChinaOpportunityChina, a slogan championed by China Daily and other state media outlets pushing for renewed US-China cooperation. The symbolism of Huang's arrival in Beijing was powerful. He wasn't just another tech executive visiting a foreign market. He was the head of the world's most influential AI hardware company, walking into a country whose access to that very hardware had just been dramatically cut. It felt less like a business trip and more like a carefully staged performance, and both sides were well aware of the optics. State-affiliated media jumped in quickly. China Central Television reported that Huang met with Ren Hongbin, the chairman of the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade. According to their coverage, Huang expressed a desire to continue to cooperate with China, despite the mounting geopolitical barriers. China Daily, the Communist Party's English-language mouthpiece, featured a prominent photo of Huang in Beijing, reminding readers that he had pledged continued partnership with China only 3 months earlier. But the real intrigue came from behind closed doors. The Financial Times reported that Huang also met privately with Liang Wenfeng, founder of DeepSeek, a relatively new Chinese AI firm that stunned the industry in January with the launch of an advanced chatbot, one that appeared to outperform existing models, despite having been developed with far fewer resources. DeepSeek's sudden rise alarmed US lawmakers. The House of Representatives China Committee has already sent inquiries to Nvidia, demanding to know whether DeepSeek had obtained any export-controlled chips, and if so, how. The committee has warned that DeepSeek poses a profound threat to national security. It's unclear what Huang and Liang discussed in their meeting, but industry insiders speculate they were brainstorming ways to design future chips that wouldn't trigger US sanctions, essentially engineering around American oversight. In that light, Huang's visit may have been less about diplomacy and more about survival. Huang himself has walked a fine line when it comes to the US-China tech divide. He has publicly stated that Nvidia will remain legally compliant with US regulations, but he's also made it clear that innovation will not stop. We'll continue to do that, and we'll be able to do that just fine, he told reporters in an earlier interview. His stance is a balancing act, staying on the right side of Washington while preserving Nvidia's foothold in the world's largest consumer market for AI. Former President Donald Trump's tariff policies, many of which are still active, continue to stir global trade tensions. After imposing wide-ranging tariffs on foreign goods, including semiconductors, Trump briefly paused most tariffs in 2023, reducing them to 10%, except for those on China, which remain at a hefty 145%. His goal was clear: to force foreign governments to renegotiate trade deals he viewed as unfairly benefiting other countries at the expense of the U.S. Trump recently took to social media to announce big progress in trade talks with Japan. This came as a surprise to Japanese officials, who thought they were only in the early stages of informal discussions. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba later confirmed that while the talks would be challenging, Trump's direct involvement signified that these negotiations were a high priority. This unexpected announcement highlights the ongoing volatility in global trade, as the future of tariffs and trade policies remains uncertain, and tensions continue to build between the U.S. and other nations. Back in the United States, Nvidia is adjusting to the shifting landscape created by tightening government restrictions. The company recently unveiled plans to invest up to $500 billion in AI infrastructure across the U.S. over the next 4 years, signaling its commitment to strengthening its position domestically. The White House has lauded Nvidia's initiative, framing it as a direct result of what it has dubbed the Trump effect. This rhetoric highlights the broader trend of reshoring and investment in U.S.-based technology. It also draws attention to the role of Nvidia's manufacturing partner, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, which has similarly pledged significant investments in the U.S. in exchange for tariff exemptions, an arrangement that seeks to mitigate the impact of rising trade tensions. However, the company's future remains uncertain. A key question looms over Nvidia's ability to sustain its growth trajectory without the lucrative Chinese market, which has been a major source of demand for its chips. Despite its plans to ramp up domestic investment, there are concerns about whether Nvidia can maintain its position as a leader in AI innovation while complying with Washington's increasingly stringent policies. Additionally, the company's quiet talks with emerging players like DeepSeek raise even more questions. DeepSeek, with its own rapidly growing ambitions in AI, could soon find itself at odds with the very rules Nvidia is attempting to navigate, potentially complicating its ability to drive technological progress while staying within the boundaries of U.S. regulations. The road ahead for Nvidia is paved with both opportunity and challenge, as it seeks to balance innovation with compliance in a highly polarized global landscape. Huang's surprise visit to Beijing may not have offered concrete answers, but it sent a clear message. The stakes are high, and Nvidia isn't backing down. His presence in China just days after fresh U.S. restrictions on chip exports was more than a business move. It was a strategic signal to investors, competitors, and world leaders. Nvidia is not retreating, it's adapting, repositioning, and preparing for the next chapter in a global tech rivalry that continues to escalate. With tensions rising between the US and China over AI and semiconductor dominance, Nvidia now finds itself walking a tightrope between innovation and regulation. Huang's ability to navigate this fraught landscape, balancing compliance with forward momentum, may define the company's future. His calm, confident appearance in Beijing suggests he's up for the challenge. As the dust settles from this week's whirlwind of policy shifts, stock drops, and diplomatic messaging, all eyes remain on Nvidia. What comes next could reshape the global tech order, and Huang appears ready to lead that transformation. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into the stories shaping our global tech future. Your support keeps us going.